have Eli Baraty, world-class coach from England. He's original from Israel, and he has been working with a lot of players in the UK and around the world. So we are making a little chat to speak about our sport, our loved sport, and I hope you will enjoy it, because this is a great human being that I just got known a few years ago, and I'm grateful for it. So if you want, during our live, you can make some print screens, you can make some Insta stories. I will ask Eli to speak not so fast, because maybe there might be some Portuguese people listening, I hope. So we will try to, if you have any doubts, leave a comment to us, and we will make some questions also to Eli. Okay? So Eli, first of all, how are you, and how are you adapting to this quarantine?
I'm doing okay. Surviving, like most people, I think. It's you know, it's a challenge, and it's something that a lot of us have to. Everyone, I think, at the moment has to find ways to get through this tough time. Some of us will have it much harder. Some of us will have it easy, depending on your financial stability. But in general, I'm personally doing okay and doing my best to find ways to make the most of this period in time.
You are also making some live tips on your YouTube channel, if I'm not wrong.
So the first month, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did 1 week of live training, and I thought it could be really nice for people to see some stuff that they can do at home. But I took it off, most of it. I only kept one on because I felt that I wanted to take that content and make it into a more structured video, and then I'll publish it again later on in the future.
Yes, because you also made an unbelievable World Table Tennis home championship.
Yeah.
You created a little challenge that is almost it's done. You are just waiting for the final result.
Yes.
So for those that you don't know, Eli made a. You can explain it. Maybe it's better.
Yes.
Well, how was your?
I thought, well, everyone's stuck at home. Let's do a world championship, home championship, and to try and keep people at home. I think a lot of people at the beginning, they were going out the house. They didn't take it very seriously, but it's a serious matter at the moment. So I tried to keep people inside the home, keep them entertained, and a lot of people are getting on the computer games or they're on the screen. So I thought, you've got to also try and be active. So I set out a challenge, and I thought, right, I'll sponsor it. And I got a couple of sponsors as well, and I put £500 cash for the person who kind of does the coolest table tennis trick or rally or game at home, and then I just sent it out there, and I got 4 finalists out of about 100. We got over 100 people who sent in videos.
Whoa! Great! That's great. Amazing. A lot of people getting in on the competition. So
yes, and I'm thinking I'll do it every year now.
Okay, that's nice. Am I wrong, or you are at my room?
I thought you would recognize this lovely place.
Yes, my room when I'm going to UK. Actually, yes, it's my room. So
beautiful, just for you.
Yes, hope you are treating him well and cleaning, and now you have time for it. So no excuses.
That's it.
First
because
time
I had time, I literally cleaned it, put everything nice. So when you come again, it's beautiful just for you.
Nice, very nice, great. Okay, so let's go a little bit from a briefing of your table tennis career as a player, first of all. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your story. It's a unbelievable story, but I let you.
I think like most people they all have special stories. For me, in my own unique way, it was very, very basic. I was always a sportsman. I did all sports, boxing, kung fu, running, football, not a lot of football, but a little bit of football, tennis, everything. But I never did table tennis, never. And at the age of 14, I went to my friend's house, and he put a movie on. At the time, it just came out, called Forrest Gump. Most people should or might know it. And in the movie, this guy plays table tennis. And I don't know what happened. My mind went, boop, and that was it. I just said, right, this is my sport. I'm going to do this for my life. And then I began playing. I ran back home, basically. Said to my mum, "Mum, I want to play table tennis now." And she knew a friend who had a little club inside a church, like a synagogue, a temple. And I went there straight away. You know, I was in love with it. But I remember the day I walked in, all the kids, and I was a cocky little kid. You know, oh, I'll beat everyone. I'm the best. And so every kid destroyed me. I remember being humiliated, and I was like, wow, this is really actually difficult sport. You know, because in your mind you see it, the Forrest Gump, and then you see people talk about it. Yeah, I was the champion of my garden. I was the champion of my street. You know, everyone thinks table tennis is easy. So I remember going back home and thinking, I got two choices. Choice number one, I get back to that training hall and try again, or quit. And my mindset was always about finding a way to win. And that's in life as well, not just table tennis. So of course I came back, and I kept coming back, kept destroying me, kept taking the mick out of me. And then after a few months I started to win, and then eventually after a year or so I started to beat everyone in the club. And then I moved to another club which was called London Progress, possibly the most famous club in England ever, maybe. It was 10 times national champions. It was a bit of like the Düsseldorf of Germany at the time. And I remember when I walked into the hall, it was all of a sudden tennis was a real sport. And this club that I played was, you know, it was nice, but this was, you know, a whole new level, international players and people who can play proper tennis. And my eyes went, wow, what is this? And then I just remember going to the club all the time and training with people and asking everyone, please play with me.
Far from your place?
It was I think it was 2 buses away. 2, sometimes 3 buses, depending on which route I took.
In time, more or less?
Depending on the buses, but between half an hour and an hour.
Okay, nice.
And I just remember, you know, going there, and then I went to other clubs. But when I was 16 years old, I started to become very good because I was playing with these players. And then I bought myself a little Vespa, and I said, right.
As mine?
Yeah, not quite as, a little bit more advanced.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a Honda. So I got a Vespa, and I was just driving to all the clubs within about 1 hour, 2 hours of my home. I was just going to every club, and I wanted to try and learn from as many people as possible and see the game from as many people as possible. And then I went to try and find the top coaches that were around London. And I progressed. I got to about... so I went into the England ranking list as a junior straight at number 77 because I won my first tournament. The first one I entered, I won it.
Oh, great.
They put me straight away at 77. And then I moved up to about top 10, around 10. And this was when Andrew Bagley was number 1. Andrew Rushton was number 2. And there was some very strong young juniors at the time. And then I thought, right, I'm one of the best in my club now. I want to go to the next level. I need to be pushed again. And at the time, there was a world champion from France called Jean-Philippe Gassian. And him and a few others were top 20 in the world. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go to China. It's too much. I'm just 17 years old. I just turned 17. And I said, I'm not going to China. Of course, China is the best, as always. But I said, it's very close. I can go across the channel, come back within a few hours maximum, and a plane fit 1 hour if I need. And if there's any problems, my mum can come and save me as such. And so my mum said, okay, what we'll do is we'll do a little deal. We did a little deal with the club. And this was a club in suburbs of Paris called Fontenay-sous-Bois. And I got a tiny room, and when I say a tiny room, I mean the room was, I couldn't even stand up. It was the cheapest room you could find in someone's home, and my mum rented out my room in England, and I got a little bit of money from the club in France. I mean, little, that basically paid for my food. And then I just survived that way in a place.
So just for you went by scooter to France.
That's correct. So I said I have to have my scooter. It's the most important thing to me. So yeah, drove the little thing, which only went to 36 miles per hour. I believe that's what, about 44, 45
40, 50, yeah.
kilometers.
Maybe 40 to 50 kilometers per hour.
So
okay, guys, are you listening this? He wanted to progress in his game, and he took a scooter, driving all the way alone without nothing at all. Maybe your bat only.
My bat, yeah, a few little things in my bag.
And did your way to France. It's an amazing. How was the experience in France?
So yes, so then obviously I drove there, and my mum then afterwards did a little shipment of all little things. I didn't have much. I didn't need much. And then my experience in France was incredible because I was in a very incredible, amazing club which I'd never seen before in England. 30 tables, full time, and this was a professional sport. All of a sudden, there was people coming to watch the matches. There was training every day. There was a professional coach full time, a few professional coaches full time, and the league was so everything was a profession. It was beautifully done. In England, to be nice, it's not professional. It's very amateur.
Yeah, like us.
So I learned a lot. My mind changed. I had to do a lot of, obviously, survive my way as well. There was times where I had some tough times, which I probably don't need to discuss, but I had some tough times where I had to find ways of surviving. And then all of a sudden I realized that, hey, there's a system of training. In England, I never had systems. We just used to go and play in the club, train a little bit. Maybe I would say, oh, can I work on this? Can I work on that? And then let's play some games. It's still kind of the structure in England at the moment as we speak. And that changed my mind. That changed my understanding of the sport. So then I started to understand what it takes to be a top player. But because all of a sudden I realized that it's so hard, the sport is so high level, it almost destroyed my dream. Because my dream was, I was a kid. I wanted to be world champion. And all of a sudden I realized that this was out of my reach. I was too old, not good enough, and I needed so much more to become world champion. So my mindset then changed. I came back to England, and my coach in England said, hey, listen, why didn't you start coaching? Because he could see my passion, my kind of desire to be a top class player had gone. So
before we go to the coaching career, you said that you are looking for top coaches all over London. You went also for France to see all the professionalism they have there. So many professional coaches and full-time coaches they have there, and how professional they are.
Yes.
How important is a coach when you are a young player, in your opinion?
Wow, it's a fantastic question. I think it's maybe the most important, and I think some people will disagree with me, but I say that strongly because it's a bit like going to school and having education. If you have one child that doesn't go to school and you have another child that goes to school, the chances are the one that goes to school will progress in life much better because he's educated, he's taught, he's in an environment where he's learning things, and he is open to many sources of information. But if you're by yourself, not going to school and kind of trying to learn life by yourself, the likelihood is you're not going to make it. Maybe you will, maybe, but it's a lot smaller. So for me, as a coach and as a player, former player, for me, coach is probably the second most important. The most important is the self-desire from the player.
Okay, nice. So then you start to think about coaching.
Yes.
And when did you decide to become a coach? Because you had also some tough moments in your life. It was before or after you start coaching, or
So,
in
I mean,
between maybe.
unfortunately, I've had many tough times. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably, you know, it's a good thing if you can make it a good thing, if you look at the positive side and try and learn from it. So as a young kid, I was, you know, I just grew up with a single mother who was amazing in her own right. She taught me about perseverance, and she encouraged me to kind of do what I want, always kind of pushed me in freedom. But that also had issues because she didn't give me instructions. I made many mistakes. So moving forward to your question,
Yeah.
sorry, just repeat the question again. So
When you decide to become a coach, when more or less, and
so then when I came back from France, I kind of decided I'm not going to be a player. My mum said, okay, look, you need to maybe do some education, go to university and get yourself a degree and get a normal job. And I kind of listened to her, but at the same time, luckily for me, my coach in England said, look, I've got a job for you if you want. You can start coaching so you can stay in the game. Because I kind of decided that I'm going to probably move away from the game and have the so-called normal life. And I got a really nice, he gave me a great job. It was in a private school, one of the best schools in England called King's College. And I got very good money for someone aged 18. I was making 20 to 25 pound an hour 20 years ago. So that's like 50 pound an hour today, you know, easy.
yes.
50 for an 18-year-old boy to make 50 pound an hour today. I mean, that's amazing money.
Yes.
So I was doing that, and I did that for 4 years. And I got some lovely success. I think I got the under 11 team to the national championships of the English schools. And after that, I got approached by Barnet Hepburn Centre, which is still going and has been going for the last 70 years and looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I got approached by them. We're looking for a head coach. Would you be interested? And I thought, you know what? I would, because it was very close to my home. And Wimbledon was actually really far. It was a 1 hour drive. And I thought this is an opportunity for me to go to the next level, to have players that are committed inside the club, and I could do my best there. So I went to Barnet, and within 2 years, I was creating amazing England players. And some of these players that were in my hall were people like, some of you may have heard of Zach Zeleznik, who was #1 in England, Reece Tan, who was #2, Guy was #5, Tintin, who's current England #1 women, and a couple of others. We had about a squad of about 10 who were all England players.
Oh, great.
Within 2 to 3 years, bang, built it very fast, because I was, and as you can see now, I was so dedicated.
Yeah.
And I would do the extra work. You know, I was hired to do, I can't remember, 15, 20 hours a week. I probably did 50 hours a week. So I would do much more to make sure that my players would really become the best they could be. And then
how did you grow this much? Alone, or you have so many followers nowadays, so many players you coach? How did you, alone mostly?
So everything in Barnet was alone, except I had one friend from university called Jade Blass, and he was from St. Lucia, and he still is one of my absolute best friends. And he helped me, kind of supported me, and helped me with the kids at Barnet. And also another gentleman called David Tan, who's also an absolute legend. And I coached his son, he was #2. And David Tan was a former top England player. He was there supporting me as well, giving me his car whenever I needed to take the kids to tournaments and stuff like that. So I had that kind of support. I had support, friendship support, but all the work was me. And then after 2 or 3 years, I think I was about 23, 24, the England squad said, hey, who's this kid producing all these top young players? So the former head England director, coach, whatever he was, came to me and said, listen, we'd like you to come and do some coaching at our training. They had a national center called Lily Shaw at then. So I was like, wow, of course, I'm on it. So I came, and they paid me, of course, which was really nice for a young man to be paid to coaching the national team. And then I was coaching the amazing squad of people like Liam Pitchford, Sam Walker.
Oh, great.
And yeah, it was really a fantastic period for me to be working with this new generation, which were the new hope for England.
Yes, yes.
And so I did that for 2 years, and they got to a point where I wanted to start to become a bit more influential in the way they were running the coaching systems. So I started to open my mouth, and
yes.
Sometimes when you open your mouth when you're young, you don't open it in the right way, and then you can get pushed. So
that's what happened.
Yeah, in reality, I got pushed out.
I used to say, if we say a lot of truth, then sometimes people don't like it so much.
Yeah.
So if you say truth about some things that are going on, also it happens with me a few times as well. Yeah. So, but we know how it works. Nowadays, you have your own table tennis academy. You work in different parts of England and London, especially. You make mostly one-to-ones, if I'm not wrong. Also some.
It's so varied now. It used to be heavily one-to-one. Well, actually, I just quickly moved forward from where I was in England, and then an academy called Harefield Academy was just built. It was a £40 million centre school, but special academy for elite sportsmen. And they called me literally out of nowhere. They're like, hello, we're looking for a coach. And I just knew this was for me. I don't know why, I just knew it. So I went to my wife and said, I'm going to get this job. So I went and had an interview, and they said, we love you, great, begin. Yeah. Monday, let's go. So again, I had amazing success there. I worked my ass off, and within a couple of years, we were the 6th best school in the world. We beat schools like France. We beat schools like, I think it was Poland, Luxembourg. We beat some amazing schools, and we got destroyed by China, Taipei.
China, yes.
But, it was an amazing experience. So I did that for 10 years, and after 5 years, if I'm really honest, I felt I've outgrown, and I wanted to build my own academy, because I was building a circle of top young players, and then they were leaving to university or whatever, and then I had to start again. Yes. So I felt in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. So I started to ask the school, can I have a land to build my own center? And at the time, they said yes. So I got excited, so I stayed, and I started to look for sponsors and people to make it happen and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the school then had some bad decisions with hierarchies, and they changed the committee, and then that meant that we had to basically abolish the idea. They basically said, you're not going to have the land. And after that, as soon as I was kind of told that's it, in my mind, I decided I'm done. So I handed in my resignation, and I was out. And that was 3.5 years ago. And since then, like you say, I've built new systems for myself. So I said, right, I'm going to try and become more of a coach that provides for everyone as much as I can. Because I used to always be only for Barnet, only for King's College, only for Harefield. And when I was a young player, I was inspired, even by a negative way. I was inspired by Michel Gadal, who was Jean-Philippe Gatien coach. I remember I called him, and it's a true story. I called him and I said, I'm in love with Gatien. I want to be the next world champion. I'm left-handed. I'm your next Gatien, I basically said to him. And he said to me, sorry, son, I'm not interested. So I remember I was in tears. I did everything I could. I said, I'll pay you anything you want. And I was the Domino's Pizza delivery boy, making £2 something an hour. And I was willing to pay him £40, £50 an hour. I didn't care. I was willing to have him, whatever it takes. So in my mind, when he said no to me, in my mind, I said, if I ever become a top coach, anybody who asks me and has desire like me, I will help them. So my mind then became about, this is my opportunity to help the mass, not to just help a few people. So then I started to create the YouTube channel, and I go around all the clubs in England, I go around all the clubs in Europe, and now I started to go around some clubs in the world. So I've become as much of a holistic coach as possible, if that makes sense.
Very nice. Yes, very nice. It's great what I've been doing so far. I would like to ask you, because here in Portugal, the culture, it's a little bit different, like the table tennis culture you have in England and some countries. And as I said, you also have a lot of clients, a lot of players for one-to-one. Yes. How important is individualized training, personal training, or one-to-ones? In Portugal, we call it more personal training, like in tennis. They have one coach for a player. Yes. How important it is, and more or less how many clients you have totally and regular, so people can have an idea what about and also the level. It doesn't need to be a competition level, or
okay. So when I first came out of Harefield, I said to myself, I've got to get as many one-to-ones as I can, as quick as I can, to try and bring in an income, because obviously I lost my normal job, or normal income, should I say. So at that time, I quickly developed and built a list of 50 clients, 50 people. And I was probably doing about 35 to 40 hours a week of one-to-ones at the time. The problem
30 to 35 a week?
To 40, 35 to 40 a week, yeah. Now, there was two problems with it. Problem number one, my back started to get destroyed. I remember some days I was doing 10 hours, 12 hours, one-to-one, bap, 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 bap. And at the end, I could barely walk. I remember I had to lie on the floor.
I'm feeling like that at the moment.
Just thinking about it.
Yes, I have to take care about me.
So I said, I've got to try and find other ways of making an income, because in 5 years I won't be able to walk. So and I basically decided I would coach anyone. That was in my mind. I want to give, as long as they want it. You know, there was some people that came to me, and they came to me because of my name, and this I wasn't happy. So I pushed them out. I kind of said, you know, if you want to, I want someone that wants it, not just someone that wants to. Oh, look, I've got Eli as my coach.
Yes.
So I would push those kind of people out, and even now I do the same. And it was great, because then all of a sudden I had people coming from everywhere, from all over England and Europe, and they're staying in my home, and I would coach them for 1 day or 2 days, or some people a week, and the response was amazing. So I thought I need to try and find other ways. So I started to do the YouTube, and I thought I wanted to grow even more as a coach and do more training camps, so I can give more to more people. So then that's when I came to people like you and Julien. And I actually, what I did, I'm going to tell you the story quickly. I took a piece of paper.
Our story?
Just, yeah, that's okay?
Okay, we make a little pause, maybe for any questions.
Yes, okay, no problem.
If I don't know if anyone wants to ask something to Eli or to me, just go. I have I wrote one question here from Roman Ruiz. He asked, how many mojitos have you drunk already during this quarantine? How many mojitos? At home, you don't like it, or?
There is only one person I blame for that, and that's his coach, Julien Gerard. Okay. It's his fault.
Yes. Yeah.
So if Julien was here, probably maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 a day. But thank God he's not here, so none.
This is sure. Okay, any questions, guys? Many people saying you are #1 in UK. You're the best.
No, really? Oh, I love these guys. Love them.
Yes. Some Christopher. Yes. Someone saying my beard is too
big.
Too big. Okay, so we can move forward.
Okay.
what was the biggest challenge to keep motivating yourself? This is my nutrition advisor, the one I've been telling you. He's a very nice guy. He's helping me a lot also in this all this stuff. Yeah.
I need to speak to him.
Yes.
My biggest challenge
to keep motivating yourself.
This is a great question, and actually it's a question I ask many coaches and many players as well. The truth is, I have some kind of fire inside me that always lights up, and it lights up from so many directions. So I can't give you a straight answer and say, look, I don't know, Ronaldo motivates me to play football, something like that. But what I can tell you is that I have a desire to be the best I can be. So I'm constantly challenging myself. How can I improve? And that question gives me the fire that I require. So how can I get better? Okay, right. Who's the best coach? Who's the best player? And then I try to, I'll watch videos, I'll read books, I will call them, I will email them. And this is how I was going to say the story with the United.
Yeah.
How I came up with that is that I thought, no, I really don't mean this in a bad way, but I thought I outgrew England in terms of the coaching mindset and what was happening in England. And I felt I need to be challenged. When I was building, I felt like I had a lot of coaches in England that were challenging me to, to who's kind of, not the better coach, it's not the right word, but who's doing a good job.
Yes.
And I felt like I need to be pushed more. I'm not being pushed enough by these coaches anymore. And that's when I took a piece of paper and I went I took top 10 countries in Europe for table tennis. Who are the best performing? And I wrote down the coaches that I thought, or I looked at the players and I would message the players, who do you think the best coach in your country is? For example, I called Philip and I said, Philip, who's the best coach in Poland? And then he told me, and then I would look around. And I came up with a whole bunch of names. I think I had about 40 coaches. And I contacted 20. I left 20 out because I felt
that would be a rugby team, not a table tennis team.
Exactly. So I felt 20 of them just didn't suit my mindset. It looked very regiment. And then I cut to about 15, and I started to contact all the 15. Mm-hmm. And naturally, I had about 5 who said, I'm not interested. Go away.
Yeah.
And then I had you guys. We can name them if you want. Julien from France, Mario from Malta, yourself, and David. And also we have Romain, who's like on our team, but is as a player coach mindset. And I did have one other, but it just didn't fit the jigsaw, so they've moved on.
And just to ask you, Kieran Skiggs is asking, any more plans or ideas for a TT center?
100%. Look, ultimately my vision and will always be to have my own table tennis center in England, one way or another. I mean, thank God I'm still relatively young. Mm-hmm. So, and in fact, there has been
maybe a UTTCT center.
This is it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it will come yet, but I know it will come one way or another. The issue I'm having naturally is finding the right location and a little bit of the money. I mean, the money's not the biggest issue because I'm quite lucky. I've got some very good people that believe in me and believe in what I do, and they're willing to back me. The biggest problem we're having is finding the right place. And we found a few places, and then it all went wrong because of so many different things.
Yes, okay. Another one, when you had just started table tennis and everyone was beating you, did you ever think of stopping for Eli? It's Dave Barsper.
I'm going to tell you something funny, actually. I think I was 16. I was starting to be quite a good player. And an old man in the local league called John Taylor could only push and chop. Only push and chop. He must have been about 70 years old. 70. He destroyed me so bad. I went home. I was crying. I was like, I'm losing to 70-year-old man who only does this. I'm never going to play table tennis again. And I just remember, how will I ever be world champion? I'm losing to a 70-year-old man.
Hang your bet and it's done.
So I think, to be honest, we all have. And when we get beaten, we're like, what's the point? Yeah, I'm still here.
Good. Yes.
So many times we have this, and I defy anyone who says does not have this. Every single player in the world, I believe, has this rock bottom. I want to quit. I keep getting beaten. I'm not interested. I hate it. So what happened with me, with this 70-year-old man, I remember saying to myself, hey, look, I can quit and be forgotten about and no one will care. Or I can carry on fighting for my dream, which was to be world champion at the time, and see what happens. And I remember I just said, right, that's it. I need to take a grip of myself and fight another day and see what happens. Now, if you stop liking table tennis, if the love goes, that's different. Then of course you should quit. But the love was inside. That's why I was crying, because I loved it so much. So I think if you still have the desire, keep coming back. Always just keep coming back. You don't know what will happen. For
sure. So about United Table Tennis Coaching Team.
Yes.
Why was it created? What it provides? What you as a founder? It's 2 years already that we met first.
Yeah.
What can you tell people about our project and our team?
So again, my desire was to, like as a child, I wanted to have the best coach. So my desire was, how can I bring the best coaches together and for them to give their knowledge and experience? And that's when I decided, right, I'm going to contact all these top coaches and see if they're interested. And luckily for me, you guys were amazing. It was incredible, because as if like I messaged you guys and then boom, it was like straight away, yes, 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 yes. And that passion was, it just felt like mine. It felt like each one of you had my vision of, how can we help people to be the best they can be? And then I said, right, come over to England, stay in my house. It was amazing. You all guys came over. We had barbecues and the sun was shining. It was perfect. And
always shining when we are going there. The sun is shining. The cloudy British weather is gone. So we always take the sun to you.
It's true. It's true. Every time you guys come, doesn't matter when. In December, you bring the sun. It's true.
Yes, it's true. How has that been so far? What can you tell us about all the things we have done so far?
So
past, present, and future. Speak a little bit about this team and what we have been doing.
Sure. So we did our first training camp in England. It was a very small camp, but it was just a test to see if we work together and it goes well. The feedback I had from the players was amazing. They said, this is what we want. We want to learn things that we wouldn't normally know or be given by, I wouldn't call it a normal coach, because there's no such thing as normal coach, but you've got a lot of beginner coach, development coach, national coach, then you've got international coaches. And each one has their own level of experience and expertise. And you guys bring all the levels together, because every one of us started at the bottom and every one of us moved up to the elite international level. That enabled players to access information which they would normally never get. So then I said, okay, how can we franchise it, grow it? So luckily for me, you guys then found an amazing guy, Paulo, in Lagos, in Portugal. So we did our first proper training camp down there, and we had I don't know, like 35, 40 players in a massive hall. It's amazing. And now we're basically doing it every year. In fact, we were meant to be there now, but unfortunately, this time of life. But and then we realized that it's going nicely, and our communication kept growing. We kept talking, we kept visiting each other, and we shared experience and knowledge. And then we basically decided, how can we expand that? And now we're starting to expand. So we have a training camp that's going to be on Antibes, Lagos. In England, we need to find more of a permanent base area that we're going to go. But of course, England will continue. We had one in England in October in Morpeth Table Tennis Club. and potentially we're looking to really expand that to do training camps in America, Malaysia, and all sorts of other locations.
Also, actually, we have been invited already for those places, but it
Yes,
didn't happen.
absolutely.
To US, to Malaysia, we had that opportunities, but nowadays, even with this crisis,
Yes,
we
difficult
have to,
times.
yes, to stand
We'll get
for
through
it.
it. We'll get through it.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
the future vision is to create a more of a closed group, potentially that people can be a part of on a more personal level, where they can really do this kind of thing. They can speak to us. They can gain the knowledge from us. And I wouldn't call it an elite group, but more of a closed group that is enabled to access the information constantly, rather than just, okay, we're going to come to your training camp. Oh, we loved it. And then they disappear. We disappear. And then it kind of gets distorted.
Yeah. So, how do you see this team? Normally, there are many international camps. Is it the same comparing to our camps? What do you think about it?
There's many amazing camps, and I think also camps suit different people. Different camps suit different people. I think what sets us apart or makes us a little bit different is the coaching. The coaching level is a whole other level. You know, you for example, you coached at the Olympic Games. You've coached top 50 players in the world. And Julian has coached, you know, and every single coach has got his own amazing expertise. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're a team that is able to come anywhere. So it's not just about camp in France, for example, that is set every year. We are a team that can go anywhere, to a national training center, to a club, to any table tennis location. We can potentially be there, and everyone can profit. So you can profit both financially and also as a club in terms of marketing or publicity. And of course, you get the very best coaching, but at the same time, it's open to anyone. So, you know, we're not just, okay, I'm only going to coach the top 50 in the world. We're open to people who just want to develop and grow.
Yes, we had already a few players that came to our camps and started to play 2 weeks ago or something like that. And they are maybe more focused than the top players from the camp. So, ever thinking of coming to South Africa? Of course we are. We are, like Eli just said, we go around the world. We can go around the world. Someone asked, how can table tennis develop in UK? What needs to happen next? What do you think?
Great question. And it's something that I've been trying to do as much as I can. I mean, from my side, I try and promote it as much as possible. But what is really needed is very simple. And that's why I'm really trying to make it happen. We must have full-time table tennis training centers, and we must have quite a lot of them scattered around the country. And that basically enables us to have a professional league. And once we have a professional league,
it's the next question someone made. Professional league in England. In England, are you? Yeah, are you?
We're not professional. It's not a professional league. We have the top division. They can make a little bit of money, but it's definitely not professional.
Yes.
We have about maybe 20, I don't know, maybe a bit more, full-time centers, but they're very small. They're like 5 or 10 tables maximum.
Yes.
You know, my vision is to have a 20 to 30 table full-time center, and and you know, I want to have the accommodations. I want to have everything everything that gives you the best opportunity to be the best you can be. That doesn't mean local league people can't come. Local league players can come and play there as well and be part of the elite program or whatever. But you need to give a structure which enables people to perform. How can you perform? One of the reasons why I left Barnet is because, as great as it was a full-time center, but you can only fit, I believe, 8, 9 tables. So when my players became to a certain level, they couldn't grow anymore because the venue was a bit too small. People wouldn't go there and stay there. It was, you know, it was remote. So it's very important that we provide proper facilities, just like football clubs. Look at football clubs. There you go, amazing, you know, stands and
speed pitches all over, so many pitches, and
Exactly.
yes,
It's the only
yes.
way, and I do believe it will happen. Maybe not fully in my lifetime, but I can maybe start it, because table tennis is growing.
Yes, and internationally, and all the efforts the ITTF is doing, it will come bigger and bigger, I hope. So as a tennis sport, for example. As a coach, what is your key focus?
Nice. That's a good question. Okay, I don't talk a lot about it, but I do it, and I will explain after. I'm very much a believer in action.
Yeah,
Then
because
words later.
all the Piccadilly circus we talk about, you have unbelievable great ideas while you are coaching. Where does these ideas come from? It's so great, all your work on it.
I think as a left-hander, I guess I've got this creative mind. So, but so for me, when I'm saying action, I will do many things to find answers, and that mainly entails mindset. I'm the biggest believer in having the right mindset. If you have the right mindset, you're virtually unlimited. But
okay, so we can yes, finish, please. Sorry.
No, sorry. So just
no,
saying. Go on.
I was about to say that it would be the next question about your mindset.
Okay.
I remember very well. You were saying that if you have a dream, wake up and make it happen. So for me, this is an unbelievable saying. And your mindset, now you can come a little bit further with what you were saying about it.
Sure. So, like I said, so for me, mindset, and I will do many things that are sometimes seemingly horrible to a player, because I'm testing their resilience, their mindset. Are they looking for answers? Are they willing to push beyond the comfort zone to reach where they're meant to reach? And I won't tell them I'm doing this until it's done. Whether I see them lose, if I see them lose and they are quitters, then I say, I tested you and you've given me the answer. Or I see them winning, then I say, I tested you, I'm very proud of you. Now we can do it. So for me, the mindset is massive. That's the number one thing for me as a coach. But like I said, I don't show it so much. I do it and then I talk about it. Where a lot of coaches talk about it, but then it becomes very theory. Okay, you need to be very strong with your mind and you need to focus. But a lot of people don't understand what that means.
Let them lose, or let them experiment failure, to see how they react.
Absolutely.
And we are always there for them.
Absolutely.
So I
remember I had one player, he couldn't serve. Terrible server. I said to him, go and serve. I'm not joking. He kept coming to me every 10 minutes. Oh, Eli, I did 10 minutes. Can I stop? No, off you go. Eli, I did not. No, off you go. 3 months. You can ask this player, I promise you. 3 months, I would make him serve minimum of half an hour every day without talking to him or anything. I wanted to see if he would break. And
he wanted to break at the first already 10 minutes.
Exactly. But he kept going, even though he wanted to break. He kept going, and that's the secret. And he became a wonderful server. I don't want to mention his name because he might be embarrassed. But so to me, the mindset is absolutely massive. So how is my mindset? Coming to your question, I built my own mindset. And how did I kind of do that? I did it naturally, and also then I did it by studying. So when I say naturally, when I was young, I had a lot of difficulties. As I said, my mom was a single parent, and my father was a very difficult man, even now difficult man. And I had difficult times, but my mom did one thing which made it very good. She always said to me, everything is an adventure. Doesn't matter how bad it is, it's an adventure. So I don't know, if you had a car crash, oh, it's a great adventure, well done.
Yes.
So
yes, it's true.
So she, in a way, not on purpose, I don't maybe she did it on purpose,
Yeah.
She made me think everything in a good way. It doesn't matter how bad it is, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I took that mindset over my life, over as growing up. Whatever bad thing happened to me, it was like, okay, this is an experience. How can I make it better? How can I learn from it? How can I grow? And then over years, I became stronger and stronger. And then I started to read about it, to really understand it, because I did it naturally, but I didn't understand it. So I read some amazing books, and I listened to some amazing people, and this really, really got my brain a lot more powerful.
I think I'm in that part still. So let's go. We have around 7 minutes. If we can finish in this hour, then if it takes longer, then we can continue a little bit. But we try 7 minutes for some quick fire questions.
Okay.
So what's the main character in our United team?
Ooh, we're all big characters. Oh, sometimes we have some crazy times. But I think maybe we have to call the Frenchie. He probably is the most charismatic, yes. Probably. So,
okay. Julien, okay.
Yes.
Hard work or work smart, as I used to say.
Wow. If I was a kid, I would have said hard work. But today, as a more smart person, I would say smart.
Yeah. Okay. Good serve or good receive?
Definitely good serve. Come on. Could have a good serve like mine. The only way I could win because of my serve.
It's the first action, because it's the first action on the game, so you don't need. But also, if you don't receive, then no chance.
Yes, it's 50-50.
And nowadays it's 50-50. So half long, half short, or short.
Well, we had a great discussion about half long recently, but so which one would I choose to receive?
Yeah, no. Yes, in service or receive or.
Okay.
The term, which term? Half long, half short, or?
When I was younger, I would have said long for sure. I loved long. Now short.
Yes.
Short.
Yes. Okay. The fastest runner in a United team.
Oh. Must be me. Has to be me.
We were tight. Now I have some injury. Now I'm.
I don't know. I never raced with David, so maybe
he's. Yeah, but now he's practicing, so we have to be careful.
Okay, so me, you, David, us three.
Yes. Who's the cleanest one?
Oh, for sure, Fonzie, you are the cleanest by far.
And the cook who still competes?
Only David, I think, still competes. Yeah. Oh no. Mario still competes.
Mario always, huh? Mario is always on track. Who has been coaching longest?
Oh, it has to be Mario. He's about 120 years old, man.
Yes, it's true. We were not born yet. He was already coaching and playing against Waldner and all this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the biggest and most prestigious event you have coached? And tell us a little bit about Maccabi Games. It's a Jewish competition. Great. Huh?
So probably for me, when I coached the England team in Sweden, the Saphirs, it was probably the best tournament for me. I saw Osharov and Waldner and all, and it was great, just great. So that's probably the biggest. But the Maccabi, this is an interesting one. So it's a Jewish event, so I guess you can probably maybe have like a Muslim event or.
I'm almost there.
Exactly. So obviously, Maccabi is a Jewish event. As I was born in Israel, I'm considered as a Jew, although I don't believe in religion as such. No disrespect to anyone, but that's my personal belief. But I went with the event, and I actually have been to many of them as a player and as a coach. And believe it or not, the one in Israel, it's called the Maccabi Games, is I believe, third or fourth, you can look at it, you can research it, biggest sporting event in the world. It has 10,000 competitors.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is probably the biggest event I've been to. When I go into the stadium, there's like 80,000 60,000 people.
Oh.
It's like an Olympic ceremony and all that.
Yes,
really,
yes,
very, very
nice.
special.
Okay, good. Your best victory as a player?
Ooh. I had two good ones. I had one that I beat Bronin. Bronin was from Russia. He was about 103, I think, in the world. I'm not sure if it was 103 when I beat him, but he was definitely top 200 or something like that. And Gareth Herbert, he was at the time, number 5 or 6 in England when I beat him men. He was number 1 at one time. And he was considered, and still is, some people might say, still is probably the best server of all time.
Good, great. And as a coach?
My best win as a coach? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a tough one. Probably coaching Filip Szymanski to beat... I'm not sure if he beat Kuzmin. He might be... no, who? I wasn't there with him, though. No, he beat Hu Jung-chao, who's Chinese national champion.
Yes, yes.
And he beat him when he was 21 in the world. He beat him, and I was coaching him at the time, but I actually wasn't with him, so I can't claim that. But I was officially his coach. But I can't remember. He beat some top 100. He beat a few top 100 players in the world, and I was there, and I can't remember which one. Hong Ming was one of them. So
1 minute.
Okay, go.
Your favorite movie?
2 movies: Shawshank Redemption and the Rocky.
Okay.
Go.
Your favorite book?
Has to be now The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
I read the next one from Robin Sharma. Your favorite hobby?
Surfing and maybe go-karting.
Surfing?
Yep. Love
Where?
Not in England. any country but England.
Your idol outside table tennis?
I have a few, but for sure Roger Federer, The Rock. Okay, then 2 for now.
And then in table tennis?
Has to be Janove and Marlon.
Okay, and who inspires you? 15 seconds.
Myself. I always inspire myself to be the best I can be. And of course, all amazing people out there, they all inspire me. I take everything from everyone. Go.
Guys, 5 seconds. Thank you, everyone. And we are done for this.